Guys, welcome back to my channel. How are you doing? If you are new, my name is Lizzie. You're welcome to my channel. So today I bring this gist for you guys. Let's dive into it together.
I used to think white people were lying when they said they didn't think about race. And not the like, I don't see color, but that they genuinely didn't think about it unless they were like having a specific conversation about race. And you know when it really clicked to me that they really don't ever think about it? All of my white friends, their emojis are still yellow.
White people ultimately don't need other races in order to succeed, in order to be ourselves. Absolutely not.
So how do you think America became the greatest economic nation without...
Not through black people.
Oh, it wasn't? It wasn't because of free labor?
Are you talking about slavery?
No, I'm talking about slavery and also what happened after slavery, which Douglas Blackman talked about, slavery by another name. So I'm trying to understand, when you say didn't need it, how do you think America became the greatest economy that it did? How do you think that happened?
Through the genius of Europeans.
How was the genius of Europeans when the fact of the matter is it was actually King Cotton that supplied the economic means for America to do so? And that was a result of free labor from black people.
Look, the whole point here is that who creates these systems, who creates these business models and businesses?
Slavery was a business model?
Well, yes, it was a business model.
I asked you again, okay? You said we don't need anybody else.
No.
But the reality is, American history proves you wrong. The fact of the matter is, there is no great America. You can't sit here and talk about that greatness without other people making that happen.
Try and explain why I personally use the yellow emojis instead of the white ones. This creator assumes that it's because we don't think about race, which it's true. White people don't usually think about race as much because we are not discriminated against based on race. But in terms of emoji usage, I choose the yellow ones because I am thinking about race. Because before emojis were made race neutral and you could select a skin color, the default was light colored skin. All the hands, all the people, it was white skin. My skin color was represented, but many other people were not represented. So when the update came out that changed the default color to yellow and then let the user select a skin tone, I chose to stick with the default yellow. Because while I was being represented before, I'm not choosing these emojis because they're white. I'm choosing them because they represent some other kind of thing that I'm trying to communicate. A thumbs up, an okay sign, a profession, like one of the people emojis. Those things have nothing to do with my race. And I choose to do the default because it feels sort of icky in this political climate to specify white. However, I do understand why it's great for people who weren't previously represented to have that option, because representation is important. And I do like that it provides better visibility for otherwise anonymous people online. But for me as a white person who doesn't have to worry about representation, there's no reason for me to go out of my way to select the white emoji when even before it changed, I was just selecting the default. Plus, I think it's nice that the yellow matches with all the faces. But that's just my take on it. If anybody has any other opinions or thoughts as to how this sort of intention could be better executed, let me know. I could be wrong. Maybe people of color prefer that we use the light-skinned emojis because they interpret it a different way. And in that case, I'd love to hear about it.
Okay, but am I the only white person who feels like it's a little racist to use the white emoji? I mean, it doesn't make sense. It's just the way I feel.
I have a story. I humbly ask you to be gentle and kind with my mother in this story. So my mother is really great, well-educated leftist woman who cares deeply about anti-homophobia, anti-racism, all this stuff. So she does things in the way that lots of women in their 50s and 60s do things sometimes, which is a little outdated. And so her attempt at being inclusive is to use a different skin tone emoji each time. And when my sister and I found this out, of course, we sat down and we said, Mother, you're representing yourself. A text is coming from you. So when you hold out a black thumb, it's like doing digital blackface. She didn't understand that. I had to explain to her, and she now uses one skin tone. But I thought that was hilarious. Switch it up every time. Inclusivity.
So I don't know, man. Like, kind of an old bitch. How do you change those? Like, I don't care that they're yellow. I barely use them anyway. Is it an Apple thing? I feel like it's an Apple thing. Now I'm super curious. And I want to know how to change them.
If it is in fact not an Apple thing, and I can do it on my Samsung, I probably still wouldn't do it. But I want to know how. Knowledge is power. I want to know how to do it. Because if I'm being honest, I can't even convert things to PDF. But I'm not like stupid or anything. Like I'm smart. I don't think I'm stupid. I'm just not like, I'm not tech savvy. You know, there's just certain things I don't care about. I would like to know how to change my emojis. You're saying I should change like the ones I use. I use the one with the laughing tears. I do use that one a lot. So yeah.
Learned a lot about what white people think about from this video. When I said think about race, there are so many comments that say, nope, I just think about the person who they are. I don't think about it at all. Nope, why should it matter? It's like almost as if the only way to think about race is to think about it in a negative, judgmental way. And I think that's something that y'all gotta work on. The only way to think about race isn't to be racist. And people in the comments were responding as if I said, I didn't believe that my white friends weren't racist. No, I just didn't believe that they didn't think about race. It was about their own awareness of race in any context. You don't only use race to be judgmental. You use race to be considerate. When I was teaching, I taught in an area that had a lot of students who were Muslim and from the Middle East. Parent-teacher conferences was very uncomfortable for certain men to come up and talk to a female teacher. My response wasn't, well, I gotta treat him the same. I wanted him to feel comfortable. I invited a male teacher into the room. And then next parent-teacher conferences, he sent his wife to talk to me. It had nothing to do with judgment or not treating him nice or kindly. His ethnicity and his culture came into play, and I responded to it. There are other ways to think about race, guys. Come on, get it together. And to my white people who found this funny, that were like, oh shoot, I didn't even think about it. The Simpsons. Thank you. Thank you for getting what I'm saying.
White people have had their moment. For many,
but see, isn't that a crazy? Isn't that statement in and of itself? Isn't that a crazy statement? White people have had their moment.
It's a crazy statement to some people. Yeah, I imagine a lot of people think that statement is crazy. But I think if you want to move forward, you have to be a little extreme.
But
you have to push the bar.
But doesn't saying white people have had their moment, doesn't that imply that white people now need to take a back seat?
100%, that is exactly what I mean. White people need to take a back seat.
That's crazy though. Isn't that racist saying that?
Nope.
What if I said black people need to take a back seat?
Nope.
That's not racist?
Well, that's not what is happening. Black people have had the back seat.
No,
they haven't even been in the car for the last.
That's a good one.
We need to stop and listen.
Isn't that saying that statement? Isn't me saying black people need to take a back seat?
Cancelled, censored, deplatformed. Black people need to take a back seat. Cancelled, censored, deplatformed. Hispanic people need to take a back seat. Cancelled, censored, deplatformed. Oh, but racism is totally okay when we do it towards white people. The white people alive today are not the ones who wronged your ancestors. We are all our own individuals, responsible for our own decisions, so why are we lumping in characteristics for a whole group of people? You wouldn't allow it when it comes to any other race because it's wrong. If you keep up with this racist rhetoric, we are straight up gonna have a civil rights movement for white people in about 50 years. It's getting ridiculous. I know it's convenient to blame white people for all the problems in your life, but sometimes your problems are exactly that. Yours. I never thought we would live in a day and age where racism was so acceptable.
A lot of white non-binary people think that when they start to identify as non-binary, that their race just decides to cancel out. And at the end of the day, you're still white. And I don't think y'all understand the intersectionality of oppression, identities. What the fuck? And I'm not saying that your queerness, your identity is not valid, but a lot of y'all like to weaponize that shit, and it's kind of crazy because black women cannot do the same when we're misgendered. Nope. Even before I came out as non-binary, I was still misgendered as a black woman, and that's wild because it's y'all, white people, who created this whole binary gender system. So y'all Y'all got me fucked up.
Firstly, people of the past created these systems and customs that we follow today, not the people of the future. So you can't really blame anybody that exists today for any type of customs or systems we follow. Maybe the government, but that's another story. And there doesn't need to be any understanding of intersectionality, because the only argument you can make for oppression, and I mean the only argument, is being misgendered as a non-binary person. When you said black women can't do the same when we're misgendered, and then you followed it up by saying before I even came out as non-binary, I was mistaken as a black woman. Those two statements alone ended the argument because you contradicted yourself. Literally contradicted yourself like 8 times in this video. I just cut it short. But if you're non-binary, do not listen to this person. And also understand that you will always be misidentified until you tell somebody how you identify yourself. Some will respect it and some won't. I call that life. You should do this.
Frank was white.
Problem with calling Anne Frank white is that she didn't live to become white. Jews don't become racialized as white until the 1950s.
The very idea of white people as we think of them today is an early modern European invention. It did not exist, at least not in any recognizable form, before the 16th and 17th centuries, before colonialism as a justification for enslaving entire groups of others. Which is why prior to the 16th century, it would be not uncommon to hear Asian people described as white. So racism within white supremacy is this amorphous, ever-changing thing. That's why we need to be incredibly skeptical anytime white people apply contemporary 21st century categorizations of whiteness to the past. And incredibly suspicious anytime they claim someone who probably would not have been considered white within their own time as well.
Yes, subscribe. Please just hit that subscribe down below. Turn on notification. Anytime I upload a video, you will be notified. And feel free to leave your opinion down. What do you think about this video? Thank you for watching to the end and stay blessed.